Despite all the odds, I'm back. For as long as I can remember, I've always loved mobile games, and if you grew up exactly where I grew up, your only access to that would be mobile phones. So it's not surprising that I have played my fair share of mobile games. Hello Gameheads, we have or will soon reach a milestone. And to honor this mild accomplishment, I will be getting back to my roots, taking a look at some of the best mobile games that defined my love for gaming. So buckle up, it's gonna be pretty nostalgic as we look at 10 of the best mobile games I've ever played. This will have no ranking cause all of them are all equally unique. Let's dive right into the video. Let's start off with a relatively new game, Bonfire 2, and if you have been watching me for a while, you should know that I am a sucker for town building simulation, and oh lord, no other mobile game does it quite well like Bonfire 2. The premise is simple but just works. Your job is to take care of a bonfire. Its light attracts visitors that can join your ever-growing colony. It has elements of hardcore survival, people management, town building, resource management, strategy, etc. with a day and night cycle that comprises of building, farming, exploring, hunting, gathering, and expanding in the day and defending against invaders in the night. If your bonfire fades, the game ends. If your guards all die out, the game ends. I remember being literally trapped playing it for hours and hours. It's a pretty fun title for fans of the genre. My only complaint though is the promised expansion that never came, cause it left a lot of questions unanswered, but it's definitely one of the best games I've played on mobile. Okay, let's continue with an old, very old wonderful gem. Earth and Legend. Literally the first thing that introduced me to the genre of fantasy RPGs. Think of it as Skyrim for mobile, which is kind of funny since the both games were released on the same year. But if for some reason you haven't heard of the game, it kind of follows the linear RPG setting. It follows a protagonist on a quest to get stronger by completing quests and uncovering mysteries of his world, all to defeat the great evil at the end. Pretty generic, but stick with me. There are different biomes, each with their own distinct enemies and have a graduating level of difficulty. As you defeat enemies and complete quests, you earn more money to buy more powerful weapons and armor. There is also a cool perk tree to level up, giving you abilities that tilt towards your preferred gameplay style, from melee to archer and everything in between. It's definitely not the most polished game out there considering its age. It's more of a relic of the good old days of Android gaming. Yeah, the studio hasn't released anything since then and you won't probably even find it on the App Store, but I will be sure to leave a link if you feel you want to try it out. Next up is an amazing yet wacky game by the brilliant yet convoluted minds of by the name CrashLands. It's a staple in my household. My siblings and I have played the game to death. The story, the gameplay, the world, everything. Even though it's a bit weird, it really hit home for me when I discovered it all those years ago. If this is your first time hearing about CrashLands, here's the deal. You play as an astronaut who's trying to deliver 3 packages, but things go horribly wrong when a giant talking all-powerful head ambushes you out of nowhere. It steals your packages, destroys your ship, and sends you and your trusty robot plummeting down to some unknown planet where you guessed it, you crash land. Now it's up to you to survive on this planet filled with weird monsters, dangerous biomes, and even weirder sentient beings, each of them as different as the environment they live in, but all unified with their beef with that same wacky head that stole your packages. You'll be crafting like crazy, building stuff, taming pets, taking down enemies and bosses, doing quests and crafting some more. CrashLands is one of those games with so many memories attached to it for me, so I'm definitely biased. It's a solid 10 out of 10 game in my books, one that helped shape my taste in games in general. If you haven't played it yet, I'm pretty sure it's still on the App Store. Please go check it out. Next up is Don't Starve, the king of hardcore survival games. A great game, brutally difficult, quite scary, a little bit trippy and love-filled. Something that has a bit of an acquired taste. It's on today's list because it's a really good game, not because of it's my favorite or something like that. My younger brother definitely loved it a lot more than I ever did, helping me quote unquote see the light. Being the first game I played where hunger, death and madness lurked behind every corner, and succumbing to these prevailing elements meant a literal reset of your progress, I was kind of turned off by it. But after discovering the easier mode and seeing how far I could go, I came to adore the title. Still a little bit scary to me though. Don't Starve follows a doctor thrust into a crazy and disturbing land by an evil entity, where he has to manage his health, sanity and hunger, all while crafting, harvesting resources and exploring the randomly generated world full of danger and mysteries. It's definitely a must try, especially looking through the lens of my little brother, and a shout out to how his choice in gaming also shaped my judgment. Next up is another banger, OceanHorn, master of the Uncharted sea. This game hooked me back in the day with its beautiful world and excellent story. It's an adventure title with a lovely narrative, gorgeous graphics and top tier puzzle mechanics that really left an impression on me. Solid all round. The story follows an unnamed boy on a quest to find his missing father and defeat a living fortress known as OceanHorn. You move from island to island, uncovering bits of the story, getting new gear, defeating bosses, and solving puzzles along the way. I had a great time playing it, and it's still one of those standout games I came across. If you haven't tried it yet, it's still available, and the sequel, OceanHorn 2 on the App Store, just takes everything up a notch. Speaking of games that dabble in mythology, we have Oddmar, an incredible side-scrolling platformer that's as colorful as its story is interesting. It follows a not-so-brave Viking who had been tasked with completing a journey his much braver brother couldn't finish. Oh, and he can produce mushrooms. Yeah, it's a pretty wacky story, but it's wrapped up in cute, beautiful graphics that tells a charming tale. Oddmar is one of those games I thoroughly enjoyed. I even finished it in less than a few hours because it's just that good. It's got a certain spunk to it that makes it stand out, and I recommend it to anyone willing to give it a try. When it comes to strategy games in the mobile space, there's a few games that can do it as incredible well as Battle of Polytopia. The premise, although simple, is done amazingly well. Your job is to use a certain faction to take over the entire grid world or earn enough points to be the top ranking one, making turn-based moves and earning stars depending on how much you upgrade your civilization. There are multiple factions to choose from, each with their own unique traits and startup abilities, including the mystical ones, which, if you ask me, are straight up busted. Polytopia is a staple in my household, and every single one of my siblings has played the game to death. You can also play co-op mode on the same phone or even online, and it's always an amazing experience. No other strategy game does it quite like Polytopia, especially when it comes to offering an amazing offline experience. Still talking about the mobile space and the greatest games ever, in my opinion, when it comes to fighting games, today's entry has to be Shadow Fight 2. If you haven't heard of Neki's masterpiece alongside Vector, I'm honestly not sure what to expect from you watching this video. Just stop right here, go play Shadow Fight 2 and then come back. Shadow Fight 2 needs very little introduction. It's a staple in my love for mobile games or games in general. The story follows a warrior who, in his quest for power, unlocks the Shadow Realm and loses his mortality, becoming quote-unquote just a mere shadow. Now he has to fight his way through a slew of enemies to regain his humanity. The game has layers. serious layers. The fighting mechanics are immaculate, and I've seen PC games struggle to hit the same level of complexity that Shadow Fight 2 brings. Each weapon animation is smooth and fluid, and the fighting is just top notch. The music, excellent. The weapon selection, amazing. Each one comes with its own unique moveset that makes you feel like an absolute badass. I could honestly talk about Shadow Fight 2 for hours. It made me feel like a true gamer. And so, if you haven't played Shadow Fight 2 yet, like I said, stop everything, head to the App Store and grab it. It's free. Okay, if you're here on the channel, you know I like to talk about Evoland 2. And yeah, it has a real strong history with me, because my gaming name, which is The Exterminator, is directly gotten from Evoland 2. I saw the name, I picked it up, and ever since then, I haven't looked back. The extreme gaming is a direct correlation and owes its existence thanks to Evoland 2. What can I say about the game? I can't really say anything about it. The story will be completely messed if I try to give you the premise. It's better you just go in blind. But anyway, let me try my best. You wake up as a boy in the woods, having no idea where you came from, only that you're on a mission from a supposed past. Events go on and you find yourself with the ability to transverse through time, moving across gaming history itself, from ancient 2D pixels to more modern 3D games and everything in between. Evoland 2 is like a fever dream with a lot of inspiration from all types of genre across the gaming space. One moment you are playing a card game, the next a platformer, the next Candy Crush, the next turn-based strategy. It has everything that makes gaming worth playing, and it's an amazing experience. The story is one of the best. Evoland 2 shares a strong spot in my heart, really solidifying my love for RPGs as a whole. I really cannot emphasize how much I love this game, and if you haven't tried Evoland 2, please just do yourself a favor and give it a try. And if you don't like it, please unsubscribe from my channel. I see that we cannot get along. Okay, wrapping up today's list with Terraria. It's called Minecraft's competitor for a good reason. Terraria is one of those games I jumped into without a clue of what to do, and by the time I figured things out, I was fighting the goddamn moon. It's an absolutely beautiful survival crafting game, and with a world full of rich detail and lore. I don't think I need to explain the 2D version of Minecraft because it's just that popular. Terraria is an amazing game that pushed me into the realms of hardcore gaming in general. I've got a ton of good memories with it, playing it alongside my younger brother. And if for some reason you haven't tried Terraria yet, please check it out. I do not want to say anything about it, just check it out. And with that, we are done with today's list. Did I hit some nostalgic strings for you? Did I introduce you to a bunch of new games you haven't heard of? Let me know down in the comments. I'm thinking of doing a part 2 of this depending on how well this video does. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. You guys are the absolute best. And I will see you in the next one. You know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe for more important videos. It's your host, P-Doc, and I'm out though.